Alex, I spent most of my life thinking wood carving was just something retired sailors did on park benches to pass the time. I figured if you weren't making a three-masted schooner inside a bottle, you weren't really carving.
Well, considering the amount of cedar shavings I saw on your floor this morning, you've clearly moved past the old man on a bench phase. Or you're just getting a head start on retirement.
It's a slippery slope, I'll give you that. But there's something about it that's different from our usual furniture builds. When we're over at the table saw, everything is about 90-degree angles and mechanical precision. Carving it's like having a conversation with the wood, but the wood is a bit stubborn and tends to talk back if you don't listen to the grain.
It's definitely more organic. I think that's what scares people off, though. If you mess up a dovetail, you can usually glue in a shim. If you slice off the nose of a wooden bear, that bear is just going to have a very flat face forever.
Oh, I've made plenty of flat-faced bears. My first real attempt at relief carving was supposed to be a majestic oak leaf for a jewelry box lid. By the time I stopped trying to fix my mistakes, it looked more like a very sad, partially nibbled corn chip.
A corn chip? That's high art, Tiger. But seriously, today we're diving deep into this. We're looking at how to actually start without losing a finger or your mind. We're talking tool selection, the different styles of carving, and how to not end up with a pile of corn chips.
The biggest hurdle for most folks isn't talent, it's the hardware. I've seen people try to start whittling with a dull pocket knife they've had since the Eisenhower administration. That's like trying to perform surgery with a buttered toast crust.
So let's break down the starter kit. If someone is standing in the tool aisle, staring at a wall of shiny steel, what are they actually looking for? Because there are gouges, chisels, veining tools, it's a lot.
If you're just dipping your toes in, you don't need 100 tools. A solid foundation set, something with about 12 pieces, will cover 90% of what you'll ever want to do. You want a couple of straight chisels, some various sweeps of gouges, and a V-tool for those crisp lines.
Sweep. That's a term that always trips people up. It sounds like something you do with a broom.
It's basically just the curvature of the blade. A number 1 sweep is flat as a pancake. That's your basic chisel. A number 11 is a deep U-shape, almost like a tiny gutter. The higher the number, the more curve you've got. When you're starting out, having a few mid-range sweeps, like a number 5 or a 7, gives you that versatility to move wood quickly but still have control.
And I noticed you didn't mention the budget special set from the big box store.
Look, I'm all for saving a buck, but cheap carving tools are a trap. They usually come about as sharp as a popsicle stick, and the steel is so soft it won't hold an edge long enough for you to finish a single leaf. If the tool is fighting you, you're going to use more force. And in carving, more force is usually the sentence right before, where are the band-aids?
It's the paradox of the craft. The sharper the blade, the safer the carver.
Exactly. You want it to slice through the fibers like it's going through cold butter. I remember early on, I was trying to gouge out a bowl with a tool I thought was sharp. I was leaning into it with my whole shoulder, and the blade hit a knot, skated right off, and buried itself half an inch into my workbench. If my hand had been in the way, I'd be known as Nine-Finger Tiger.
That's a vivid image. Speaking of hands in the way, let's talk technique. There are different flavors of carving, right? It's not just whittling a stick.
Right, you've got whittling, which is usually just you, a knife, and a handheld piece of wood. Then you have relief carving, where you're creating a 3D image on a flat board. Think of it like a picture popping out of the wood. Then there's in the round, which is a full-blown sculpture you can walk all the way around.
For a beginner, where do you recommend they plant their flag first?
Relief carving is a fantastic teacher. You usually have the wood clamped down, so both hands are on the tool and away from the edge. It teaches you how the grain reacts. You see these lines? They're like a brushstroke by nature. If you carve against them, the wood will tear and splinter. It'll look like a dog chewed on it.
It's like petting a cat. Pet it head to tail and everyone's happy. Go tail to head and you're getting scratched.
That is the most accurate woodworking analogy I've ever heard. And choosing the right cat or wood matters too. Don't start with oak. Oak is a bully. It's hard, it's brittle, and it'll break your spirit. Start with basswood. It's the old reliable of the carving world. It's got a tight grain. It's soft enough to carve easily, but it holds detail beautifully.
What about pine? Everyone has a scrap of 2x4 laying around.
Don't do it. Pine is treacherous for carving. The difference in density between the early wood and late wood, those light and dark rings, is so massive that your tool will jump and skip. It's like trying to carve a sandwich made of ham and granite.
Okay, so we've got our basswood, we've got our Sharpmore 5 gouge. Walk me through the actual movement. I see you using your thumb a lot, even though you aren't cutting with it.
Carving is a game of levers. You almost never want to just shove the tool forward with your arm. That's how you lose control. I like to use my non-dominant hand as a brake or a pivot. My left thumb rests on the back of the blade or the wood, and I flick the tool forward with my right hand. It's a controlled burst. You're taking small, deliberate bites, not trying to swallow the whole forest in one go.
It looks very meditative when you do it, but I bet the first 20 minutes of a project are just pure frustration for a newbie.
Oh, the ugly phase is real. Every project goes through a stage where it looks like a total disaster. You start with your roughing out, getting the basic shapes in place, and it's messy. There are chips everywhere, the proportions look weird. Most beginners quit right there because they think they've ruined it, but you have to carve through the ugly to get to the art.
Is that why people recommend those fishtail gouges? I see those in the hobbyist kits.
Fishtails are great because the blade tapers down. It lets you get into tight corners where a standard width gouge would bump into the surrounding wood. It's like having a specialized scalpel for the tricky bits, the eyes of a bird or the crevices of a flower petal.
You mentioned something earlier about people having different opinions in the carving world. What's the biggest debate you've run into?
Oh, ask 3 carvers how to sharpen a tool and you'll get 5 different answers and at least one heated argument. Some guys swear by Arkansas stones. Others won't touch anything but diamond plates. But the real holy war is whether to use a mallet or just your hands.
I'm guessing you're a by-hand guy for the fine stuff?
Mostly. If I'm removing a lot of waste, say I'm carving a large bowl out of a cherry log, I'll break out the mallet. It saves your wrists. But for the detail work, I want to feel the wood. I want to feel that moment the grain changes so I can adjust my angle. Using a mallet is like shouting, hand pushing is like a whisper. Both have their place.
I love that you can still see the tool marks on this. It doesn't look like it came out of a plastic mold.
That's the soul of it. A lot of beginners think they need to sand everything until it's as smooth as a billiard ball. But in the carving world, found surfaces, where the finish comes straight off the edge of a sharp blade, is the gold standard. It shows that you were there. It shows the intent behind every stroke.
So if someone is listening to this in their garage right now and they've got a block of wood and a knife, what's the one thing they should do in the next 5 minutes to actually get better?
Stop trying to make a masterpiece. Just take a scrap piece of wood and try to carve the same shape 10 times, 10 little pyramids, 10 little grooves. Get your hands used to the resistance. It's muscle memory, just like playing an instrument. You don't start with Mozart, you start with scales.
And maybe don't start with the family heirloom mahogany table as your workbench.
Definitely not. My first carving bench was an old stump in the backyard. To be honest, I still miss that stump sometimes. It didn't mind if I slipped and caught it with the chisel.
It's amazing how much focus it takes. You don't really think about your taxes or your grocery list when you're 3 inches away from a razor-sharp piece of steel.
That's the secret benefit. It's the only time my brain actually shuts up. It's just me, the steel, and the wood. And if I do it right, I get a spoon out of the deal. If I do it wrong, I get some really expensive kindling. Either way, the time wasn't wasted.
I think that's the perfect place to leave it. Whether it's a majestic eagle or a very fancy corn chip, just get some wood and start moving some chips.
Just keep your tools sharp and your fingers behind the edge. The rest of it, the wood will teach you if you're patient enough to listen.